All right, what is up? This is Teacher Danny, and today's live stream is all about how to create a custom UI. Here, let's take a look at it. A custom UI that controls like sound effects and stuff like that. So I call it a production board or a control board, or some people call it a soundboard. See these buttons? This is what it does, okay? Click laugh. Click applause. I can see the confetti that was popping up in the back. Okay, this is clearly a very oversimplified example, but still functional. I'm going to teach this in 3 phases. First, I'm going to do the advanced, where I'm just going to show everybody how this works really quickly. It's probably going to take about a minute or 2 for the advanced part. And that way, if you're already a pro and you know what you're doing, you just needed this one little thing, you can just watch it and you'll know. Then I'm going to go do the intermediate part. That'll take just a couple minutes, where I'm going to go over everything in the script and everything and how everything is built, and I'm going to explain piece by piece. And that is only going to take a couple more minutes. And then if you're intermediate, then you could probably finish watching after that. And for my absolute beginners, after I do the advanced and intermediate, I will do what is going to be the majority of this video, where I will start from scratch with nothing and step by step build it up, so that way no matter who you are, you can build this control board that we have right here. Okay, so let's see. First of all, let's see what it is. Okay, and again, if there's anything here that you are not understanding yet, I'm going to explain it, but I'm starting it off just for advanced people so they can watch it and just get off the video. Okay, so here I have just a custom UI, and I attached a script to it. The script is called the control board, and here are the prop types that are in there. I have the laugh prop type and the applause prop type, which are both just audio gizmos. There's one. Oh, how'd you end up over there? And let's see. This is totally not important for me to move this right now, but anybody who builds knows just what I'm going through right now. You just want to... All right. So, again, for advanced people, I got a custom UI. I got 2 audio gizmos. These 2 I did create using the Gen AI, which we'll go over, but you can also just pull it out of, these sounds. Okay. And then, of course, a particle gizmo, which you would just, get out of gizmos here. Again, if you don't know what these things are, we're going to go explain it. Okay. So all I did was I have 3 prop types. All 3 were entities. These 2 were the audio ones. I plug it into the audio space. The space is here for the specific one, for laugh or applause, and then this one is obviously for confetti. Let's look at where I plug those in on the script. Here is the full script. Okay, so as you know, it's a UI, so we have to import things from Horizon UI. These are the things I imported. Oh, I guess we don't need the binding. I'll erase the binding. I was using it before for something else. If we have time at the end of this video, then I will show you guys how to do that. All right, so I just make the board 400 by 400. It's just very simple size. Then there's my prop definitions, laugh, applause, and confetti. All of them are prop types.entity. Of course, if you're going to use prop types, you want to import prop types from Horizon Core. All right. Then each of those 3 buttons has its own method or function. And, the buttons don't do anything but say, do the command that's written in the button or the pressables. And each one does one of these functions. Okay, so like the laugh function, all it does is we imported audio gizmo. Okay, see up here, we imported audio gizmo and particle gizmo from Horizon Core. Then down here within the function, we just say, we just make a const called audio gizmo. We tell it what type is it? It's an entity. And technically, we don't have to put HC entity because we imported entity. Why did I Why'd I do that? Okay, good. And that would be fine to leave it like that, but again, if you're advanced, you probably know that you don't need that. All right. And the reason we don't need entity here, and I'll go over that when I get to the intermediate part, but it's basically because I'm importing it. All right. So there's the laugh function, which just declares something called an audio gizmo, which is whatever is plugged into the laugh prop definition. See this prop definition right here. And because TypeScript loves its checks, before we just say, do something with the audio gizmo, we have to say if the audio gizmo even exists. And if it does, then let's make another thing called audio, which is just the audio gizmo, which is this thing, the this.laughs, as an audio gizmo. So now it's not just an entity, it's an entity that is specifically an audio gizmo. And that's how we're interacting with it. And anything that is an audio gizmo, let's see if we can look at it. There are different commands that you can put on an audio gizmo. And here I just went through props. I just right-clicked on it and clicked definition types, and it's telling me. So here is the audio gizmo. Okay, I didn't even realize it was a 2-string. So I guess you can come up whatever the name of it is. So of course there's volume and pitch even. But these are the only ones I have ever used. Play, pause, and stop. Now, really, I almost only ever use play, and that's all we're going to use today. So basically, we say, let's go back to our script. And again, if you don't understand this, I promise we're going to go over every little piece. So we have the audio gizmo, and that audio gizmo, see, I reused the same name here. It's just a name that I made up because, see, I called it this constant or this variable, audio gizmo. And then here I say that audio gizmo and I use it as the actual audio gizmo. That's why this is in uppercase in red or capitalized in red, because that's the real audio gizmo. Okay. So it's the identical thing for applause, except that the prop definition is a different one. So before I used laugh, this time I'm using this.props.applause. Okay, again, we check, does the audio gizmo exist? If it does, we're going to make a new audio variable constant and call it this audio gizmo as audio gizmo. And then we're just going to do audio.play like we did over here with the looking at all the definitions. See, we had play and pitch and volume and all that. So we're just going to do audio.play. And then confetti is the third function. It's almost identical. Except that instead of audio, it's particle. So again, we imported particle gizmo from Horizon Core. Then when we come back down here, same thing. We named this constant particle gizmo, and I could see how that could be confusing. Maybe I should have named it something else, like confetti effect, something like that, which we could totally do. And when it gets time, oh man, my dryer's done. It's gonna beep forever. I might have to run over there and open or just beeps and beeps and beeps. It's like, dude, I get it. It's dry. It's a really good dryer. I shouldn't complain. All right. So, and this has similar commands. Oh, I don't even know what are the other commands. So it has play. Certainly it's not going to have, volume and stuff. Okay, so what's a particle gizmo have? It has 2-string as well. It has play. It has stop. It has convert to visual effects parameter type. Parse value. We're not going to get into all that and figure out what that means, but that's interesting. It's got some other stuff there. So that's it. Those are the 3 functions. And then here's, of course, in any custom UI, you have to initialize the UI right there. And then from whatever this bracket is up until this bracket is what is going to show up within, I don't know if you can hear that beeping, what is going to show up on the custom UI. So what we're doing is we're returning one view that's going to have 3 children. Each of the children is going to be a button, and button is a function here. See this function button? And it takes in 2 parameters, or is it called arguments when it's put in like that? Anyway, it's going to take in a string that we're calling button text, and it's also going to take in a handler, which is basically just a function. Okay, so when we say make this first button, we're sending it in with this string and this function. So the string is this, laugh. It's just the word laughed. Okay, and then there's a function, which is kind of like an empty function with another method in it, this dot laugh. And as you see up here is laugh. So when this one is saying, you know, this button is being made with 2 things. It's being made with a string and the function that says do the this dot laugh function, which plays the laugh audio gizmo, if all plugged in correctly. And now let's go. And then here's some styling just for the main custom user interface. All it's doing is just making the buttons in a row and giving it like a little gray background just to make it easier to see. Otherwise, just 3 white buttons floating in the air. Now, each button, you see, we didn't write out the whole thing, like make a pressable with more children and more styles. All we did is say this dot button and pass these 2 parameters. Well, here it is. Here's the button. Here's this dot button right here. And this whole thing is the button function. Okay? And so what is this button function? It returns a pressable. And on press, so when you click it, it's just going to do it whatever handler you put in here. What's that mean, handler? The handler is going to be that function that you're passing through. Okay? So remember, we passed everything down with 2 things. And I know I'm basically have already gone on to the intermediate part of this, you know. So if you are, if you're you know, expert, then maybe you had to watch a little bit more of this video than you expected, but that's all right. Okay, so here is the button function, and what we're doing here, instead of doing this 3 times, making this pressable with all these, you know, styling things on it, instead of doing 3 of those, we just made this one function, and then we're calling the function 3 different times. Calling the function means like using the function. So here's the first call of the function. This dot button with the 2 parameters passed, laugh, and then the laugh function, and then this dot button again. Okay, so here let me bring this up together. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to shrink that at all. Okay, now see the 3 buttons there. Okay, so those 3 buttons, see laugh, applause, confetti. So this laugh button is this button right here. This dot button with the word laugh passed in. Because look, when we make this button function and we pass in this first part, which is a string. See, right here it says the button, and then the string passed in is laughed. Well, what are we doing with that? That string is called button text. Where are we using button text? Right down here in the text. Because we have the pressable, and then it has, you know, the pressable only has 1 child. It says children, but it's 1 child, and it's that text, and that text is button text. So whatever you pass through in there is going to come out as button text. And I think I'm realizing now that this is all going to make a lot more sense when I do the start from scratch version. So let me get to that in just a minute. But in the meanwhile, I gotta go switch out my laundry. So let me I got a little video I can play you guys, I think. Yeah. Okay. So here is a safety commercial that I made with some of my friends with the SafeVerse group here in Meta Horizon Worlds, where we're trying to, you know, basically promote, you know, safety and health in the metaverse. So here's a commercial. I'll be right back.
This VR world is amazing. I just met someone who wants to team up for a mission.
That sounds fun, Max. But remember, it's important to be careful when talking to strangers online.
Why should I be careful? They seem nice.
Sometimes people aren't who they say they are. Always be cautious and never share personal information with strangers.
So what should I do if somebody asks me for my name and address?
Don't share it.
Got it, Miss Harper. I'll stay safe and have fun.
Okay. Oh man, I guess maybe the commercial went a little short. Maybe I took a little longer than I realized it was going to take. So sorry if you were just watching a blank screen there for a second. All right. Now let's get to the part where we build the whole thing from scratch. Okay. All right, here we have a custom UI that does three things. It's basically a soundboard, like a production board used for live events. So let's say you want a laugh track with some special effects. So here's the laugh track. And then here's the applause button. And then I added confetti. It's not the most amazing special effect. There's, ways to enhance it, but I'm just trying to show you function, and then you choose your own style. We're going to start from scratch building this whole thing together. So let us go ahead and start a new scripted scrap. We'll call it production board. All right. Let's open up said production board. Does anybody else have this thing where like they can't control very well like how it seems to. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I scroll and it just scrolls all the way down. That's got to be a me thing. Okay, so number one thing that we're going to do whenever we use a custom user interface is we're going to have to. Oh, it's cheating. It's giving us all the answers now. I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to try to avoid all the suggestions, even though I 1,000,000% of the time use them when I'm just scripting myself. I've been trusting the AI way too much, but you know what? It's been really reliable. Okay, so we need to import this as a custom UI. So first things first, import, and I'm just going to put in those brackets, and we're going to say from Horizon UI. Okay. So now when I type things in there, it will give me suggestions knowing, why are you doing that? It typed, okay, I accidentally hit the tab button because I was just trying to move the cursor forward. And then when you hit tab, it makes you take whatever suggestions it was giving, okay? So the first thing, here, okay. We're just going to do the first one, UI component. We won't do all the others. Now, do you see how there's an error already here? Well, that happened when we put in this UI component. Watch me comment it out. Oh, okay. See, it did a bunch of changes when I did the correction. I mean, when I hit the tab button and it updated it. So let me get rid of this UI component. All right, let's just start from the beginning. Okay. So first things first, import, and I'm going to do from Horizon. Come on, Cletus. UI. Now I'm going to hit escape. See, it's giving me all these suggestions. Hit escape. Now I hit tab. All right. So the first one I'm going to do is UI component, and the computer came up with the real suggestion because I typed in Horizon UI. So it knew to, what are the possibilities? Because UI component can only be brought in with Horizon UI. All right. So once we've made that, now we have to change. See how it says HZ.component? We're going to change that to UI component. So instead of HZ period, we're going to change it to UI. So it'll look just like this. This says UI component. This HZ period is also going to say UI component, which means we're going to do the same thing with this one. All right. So now whenever something is made into a UI component, it wants an initialize UI. So we're going to add that underneath the start, not in the start. Okay. And see how it says an error on UI node? That's because, oh, did it already import it? Then why is it? Oh, okay, it has an error because I haven't returned anything yet. So I'm going to return a view. Ooh, and I'm glad I'm doing it without the suggestions. I see it gave me a bad suggestion. I'm excited. I knew something. I knew not to accept this suggestion. All right, return, and then a view. Oh, that's why I didn't know how to suggest. So that's it. Once I typed in view, it added it to the import. Oh, that's cool. Was it not doing that before? Maybe I was doing it the wrong way. Okay, so a view, just like everything, has children. Okay, and what am I doing? I did the wrong kind of brackets. Children is square brackets, and then we put the children in there, and that's going to be the buttons that we put in. So instead of just normally what I could do is I could do a pressable. Oh, it is importing it for me. So I clicked pressable because I knew that was one of the options, and it added it to import. Okay, so I clicked pressable, and it imported it. And then I could, do another pressable and this and that, but I'm not going to do that. Let me erase that pressable altogether. So I just have children. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a function called button that makes buttons. Okay. This is how you do a function, right? Button, parentheses, and then curly brackets. And then the function, I'm going to have to return something. So I'm going to return the pressable. And pressables get a parentheses and a curly bracket, and then they're also going to have children. And then, I could put in children like this, where just like I did before, where it's in these square brackets. When you put those square brackets almost always mean list. So if you've had children, you're going to list all the children, but we're not going to have multiple children. We're just going to have one child. So instead of just, putting in those brackets and putting in a list, we're just going to type in the one. Since it's only one, we don't have to do the list. It's just going to be text, because this pressable is going to do something, and then the only thing within that pressable is going to be just some words just to label the button, which is just a good way to do it. Okay, so whenever you have text, the first thing you need is the text. And I could just put in a pair of apostrophes there, and then it takes that as text. Now, whatever I put in between it is also the text, but as long as there's a space for text or a string, it'll work. And then the next thing you can put in is style. And then, hold on, I guess. Yeah, I felt good. All right. So why is the text having an error? Did I not? Oh, okay. So I have to import it. So before it imported everything for me. Okay. So now it's imported, and now there's no more error under text. Okay. And let's see, what do we want to make the text to be? Well, instead of just having it something specific, because we're going to be using this function to make multiple different buttons. See, because if we just did it like this, like it's suggesting, where we just wrote button in there, every one of these buttons, instead of looking like this, where it was 3 different buttons with, their own text on it, they would all just say button, because we just hard-coded it in there. So, instead of just hard-coding the word button in there, let's put a variable in there. And let's make that variable put in let's call it button text. All right, now look, it's going to get an error. It's like, what do you mean button text? And see, the computer's already giving me suggestion, or the Windsurf is the IDE that I'm using. All right, so it's like button text. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll put button text in there, but what is button text? Like, if you don't put apostrophes around it or quotation marks, then we know it's a variable, but we've never heard of it. There's no mention of it anywhere in this script on anywhere. Well, we have to invent it. So we'll invent it within this. So we'll put it within the parentheses in front of button, and we'll say button text. And then we're also going to give it a type. We're just going to put in a colon there, and then I'm going to type in string. So that way we know what it is. TypeScript just likes to do that. They like to know the types of variables. Is it going to be a number? Is it going to be a string? Is it going to be a Boolean? Something like that. Is it going to be a function? There's so many things. I think you can like make up your own types even. All right. So basically, when we do the button function, we're going to have to type in a string within it. Okay? And whatever that string is going to be the text on the button. So here when I make the initialize UI, which returns the view, which is the whole thing that we're going to see in the UI. If I just say this dot button, okay, because that's how you call a function, this dot button, and then I'm going to, it wants a string. And again, just 2 apostrophes is good enough. That counts as a string. It just won't say anything on it. But if I want it to say, Flugel Boogle, right? Whatever you want it to say. All right, and it'll say that because it's going to say whatever argument we pass in with this function called button is going to take whatever that string is that we passed inside of it, and it's going to make it the text. Okay, so if we save all this. And then we go here. Let's make a whole brand new one. We're not going to use that custom UI. We'll use a whole new one. I always think this stuff's going to be so simple, and then I remember I was like, it took me like months, even years to figure out some of this stuff. So why would I think I could explain it in 20 minutes? All right. So there is the custom UI. What's the name of the script that we made? What's it called? Production board. So let's go here. Let's click on production board. Production board. And it should just be one button. So when I go look at it, I should just be seeing one button, and the button should say Blugel Flugel or whatever it was. Okay, and I didn't give the button any style or anything. You see it's up here? You can barely tell what it is. So here, let's give it some more style, and that way. And the reason I'm doing it like this is I want you to see every little part of this. It's not even that important that you do the project your way. What's important is that you understand what's happening behind the scenes, so that way you can think of what you want to do and make it happen. And to be honest with you, once you figure it out, you can pretty much get the AI to do it. You just have to understand, it. Sometimes it seems like it's a mind reader, but it's not. You just got to be good at. Well, it's also really good, but you also have to prompt it the right way. All right. So this dot button, Flugel Blugel. Now, this whole button function that we made, which is what's appearing right here, it doesn't have any background. So let's give it like some background. So let's say the pressable, where it ends there. So then, hold on, after children text, I think there's where I can put style. Whoops. And this will be the style specifically for the pressable, not for the text. The text style is in there. So here, I'll affect the text style. So we'll do it like this. The text style. We'll make the color of the font black. And we'll make the font size, let's make it 20. Okay. And then the pressable, let's make the background color white. Oh, you know what? Let's try to make it blue. Let's go for something like a light blue. Let's do light blue. Okay. And well, that's it. All right, let's go look at what it looks like now. Okay, the script is still okay. I saw it was working, but let me. I'm gonna make a duplicate of it. Okay, and then I'm gonna erase the old one because every time you update a UI, like 90% of the time, I have to what's it called? Make a new one, because otherwise it'll hold the properties of its old one combined with the new one and it looks real weird. Okay, so here's the UI. It looks like it's just a bar at the type of the screen. So let's pretty that thing up a little bit. Okay. Let's first of all, let's affect the width of it. Okay, so let's say let's limit the size of this pressable to be about 100, which is 100 pixels. Okay. And you know, there's so many things I want to do, but I should do them one at a time so you can really see what's going on, okay? That's the best way. That's how experiments are done. That's the literal definition of experiments. When you have a control, everything stays the same except for one factor, and then that helps you tell, like, how is it affecting the experiment, okay? All right, so we just changed the width to 100. Let's go back and look at it, what it looks like now. See, here's the new size. And you see it still has the old one because, again, like, for whatever reason, I don't know, it's some glitch in the matrix or something. Okay, but here, now we'll see the new version. Okay? But it's all the way at the top. And so what we're going to do is, man, I want to stick to just this lesson, but I keep realizing there's so many things to learn in this. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stick to getting this thing to be functional. And I think I'll have to do a whole nother lesson on pure styling and you know, getting things to look cool. All right. So let's go back to our script. We got our button, the Bloogle Floogle button. Okay, but let's change that. Let's change it to you know, cheer. Okay, and then so now whenever this button, you know, gets called with cheer in it, it's just going to make a button with cheer on it. But we want this button to do something. Okay, so here's the fun part. So here's right before. Well, it could be right after style. Right after style, I'm going to hit a comma. And then I'm going to hit, oh, it's already giving me a suggestion, but I'll push on, press. See, its suggestion's already coming up, so I'm going to hit enter. Okay. And then on press, you put a colon, and then you just put like just a function. There's different ways to do this, but what I'm going to do is just leave that blank, and then I'll put the name of the function in here. Okay, so let's make our first function. Whenever we press this, we want it to do whatever function is in there. Okay, so instead of just saying, I could tell it, you know, a function such as, you know, play the cheer sound that we'll have to make soon. But no matter what button I put in there, they're all going to make the cheer sound. So again, just like for button text, we wanted that to be varying every time. So whatever we type in there is what is going to happen, is what is going to show up as the text. Well, just like that on the on press, we want to choose what function happens in there. So here, so whenever someone calls on button or calls this dot button, they'll also have to pass in a, what's it called? A function. okay, for the sake of, I usually use it just the way it's written right there, but for the sake of removing confusion, I'm going to call it handler, okay? Because it's the button handler, okay? And then the handler, what's its type? The type is a function, and I'm not sure why it's, just an empty arrow function going to void. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I wonder if it would still work if I would just put in like this. Would that still work? No. I think I erased something. Okay. I don't know. It kind of looks like it would work, but we're going to stick with void. Okay, because I know that'll work. Now look, this dot button before, all we were passing through is the string cheer. And now there's an error. And why? That's because now whenever the button function is called, it wants two things. It wants the string, which it already has, but it also wants a handler. Okay? So the handler, we're going to have to give it a function, but we don't know what. We have to invent the function first. So let's create a function called cheer function or cheer handler. Let's call it cheer handler. Okay, and every time cheer handler gets called, we're going to play the sound. So for now, right? Let's just use what it's got. It's got the console.log cheering. We're gonna come back to that. Okay, so this dot button is gonna do cheer, and it also has to do. We also have to plug in a handler, and the handler. Oh, it already knows. But yeah, this dot cheer handler. Okay, and so that's it. So now, whenever I use this button, this dot button, what's it going to do? It's going to have it's going to be labeled with the word cheer, and when you press it, it's going to do the function this dot cheer handler, which in this case is just what's it called? Logging something to the console, which is the word cheering. Okay, but I'm noticing now. Look, the word handler that we passed in here. Look, it's like dim there, as to where button text, the first variable we sent in is darker. That's because button text actually gets used. Handler is not getting used. We didn't do it. We were supposed to put it here in the on press. And so now I'll do it now. But basically, yeah, whatever handler is. Okay. So whatever handler comes up as. So I just put the word handler there because it's the variable from this. I know normally we write this dot handler or this dot whatever, but this means it's coming from the whole script. But handler is not coming from the main script production board. It's just coming within this function button. So it doesn't need a this. Okay. All right. So now when I click on it, it's going to console something to the log. Log something to the console. Okay. Let's make a copy of this before I even get into it. So. Okay, let's walk up to it, and let's show our console. Here's the console right here. Okay, so down here at the bottom, when I click cheer, it should say cheering. Okay, let me try again. Okay, I broke it. I did not make it work the good way. All right, let's see what I did wrong. Now, I could show you how I could use AI to figure it out super fast, but I think I already know what it is. I think I was supposed to put that in there. Don't ask me why. That makes such a big difference, but okay, cheer handler void. This dot cheer handler. Okay, great. Yeah. Let's see if it works this time. And you know what? That's one of those things, even just from experience. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if that's necessarily going to work, but sometimes you just kind of like remember what you're supposed to do. Okay, it's not. You know what? Let's go straight to the AI. No reason to mess around. I'm paying $18 a month. Better give me some AI. All right. When I click the button, I am expecting a the string cheering to log to the console, but it's not. Why? Okay. So that is interesting. You know what? Let me go to my original script and see if I can, while the AI is figuring it out. Oh, it's already saying you need to use bind. Okay, I've seen other. Yeah, I don't know. I've never done it that way without using the AI telling me to do it. But you'll see what it's going to say in a second. But let me see. Okay, this dot laugh. This button. Okay, do the whole function, and then this dot laugh. Okay. That's exactly what it did. It copied the format. Not to say it was copying, but I guess it knew the right format, which is the same format that I used in the last one. So, okay. All right. So where are we at? Okay, so now this dot button, it's going to have the text cheer, and it's going to do the function cheer handler, which is going to log to the console the word cheering. And maybe I don't even need to erase it this time. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's see if the word cheering appears down here when I click it. Click. Okay, let me copy it real quick. Okay, there we go. Cheering. Okay. So now it's working. So the button is working every time I hit cheer. See, it says it's got the number 2 there because it just did it twice. If I hit it again, it'll be that means 3 in a row. All right. So now we got it. We already got one button. So now we can just all we got to do is see in children. It's a list, but there's only one thing in this list so far. This button, well, so lists are separated by commas, or the items in there. Here, I'm gonna hit enter, and now let's come up with what we want the next one to do. So instead of saying cheer, we'll have that one be scream. Okay. And then when we do it, we also have to put in a function. And we have to write in the name of the function. So before we had cheer handler, right? So let's do this dot scream handler. But the problem is that doesn't exist. So up here, how we have cheer handler, let's make scream handler. It's already given me the suggestion, but it's all right. We can make it. All right. So I already know it's going to work, so we don't need to console log it and test it. Let's go ahead and start putting in the code to actually have that do some audio. Okay, so we're going to use audio gizmos for that. So first thing we got to do is we need to import audio gizmo, but we're going to not import it from the UI. We're going to import it from core. Oops. Okay. So audio gizmo. And okay, I'm going to try to remember this. I use AI so much, it just like does stuff for me. Okay. So in the cheer handler, first things first, we're going to make a constant called, audio. Instead of calling it audio gizmo, because that's going to get confusing, let's just call it music. Okay, constant music. Okay, equals. Let's see. It's going to be this dot props, but guess what? We don't even have the props yet. We have to make them first. So we have to go into props.definitions, and we're going to make our spaces for our gizmo here. And basically all we're doing is we're just going to make 3 things. We'll call them, well, let's just start with the first 2, cheer. Okay, and that's going to be, type. Is it type audio gizmo or type entity? Let me double check that. Yeah, entity. Okay. Okay. Now I went to hc.entity because I didn't import entity yet. There we go. So I don't need HC. Okay. Cheer. Type. Prop types.entity. What am I doing? Come on, Danny. Act like you've been here. So I'm not even going to have to. Prop types. So I'm not even going to have to import entity. So. Because entity can exist off of prop types. Okay, so cheer is the first one. Let's put a comma, make a second one, and we're going to call this one scream. Okay. Prop types.entity. So now we have 2 entities, cheer and scream. So music is going to be whatever this is. So this.props.cheer. Okay, that's it. All those suggestions. Okay, now we're going to say, if, because we need to check to make sure it exists. So if music exists, then in these brackets, we're going to say audio. We're going to come up with something called audio. So audio, we're just going to name it. Audio equals music as audio gizmo? Why is audio not the right word? I cannot find name audio. Do I have to write const? Okay. So audio equals music as audio gizmo. You know what? I'm layering this too much. Let me show you this the exact simplest way. Okay. So let's just put it all together instead of we're just going to put it all together beginning. So music is going to be this.props.cheer.as and then audio gizmo. Okay. Now it wants this question mark here because it's not 100% sure that this.props.cheer is going to exist. So let's just put in its safety thing. Be like, if, this.props.cheer, which means if it exists, then do whatever's in these curly brackets. And let's move this up into the curly brackets. I'm just going to highlight it and drag it up. Okay. So if cheer exists, then music equals cheer. We don't even need to call it music. We can just do the whole thing at once. And we can just say dot play. Okay, so this.props.cheer, which is whatever we connect into the prop types definition here, played as an audio gizmo, dot play. So basically, this thing used as an audio gizmo has multiple functions, and one of them is play. All right, so that's all cheer handler is going to do. And I would say let's go make the sound for it. But let's do scream handler first also. Okay. So let's do the if statement. If this dot props dot scream, then what are we going to do? We're going to say this dot props dot scream as, oh man, I'm so glad that I'm actually getting this stuff now. Kind of. I know it doesn't seem like I'm getting it all, but it feels, trust me, I feel like I'm doing a lot more than I used to be able to do. Okay, dot play. I'm getting there. All right. I mean, honestly, like most of the reason I even do these tutorial videos is not even to teach. It's like when you teach, you have to break things down step by step to try to understand what other people's point of view is. And when you do that, you learn about things. Okay. So basically, cheer handler and scream handler should play whatever audio gizmos are plugged into cheer and scream. So let's, first of all, save that. Let's go back to our world. Let's look at our gizmo. Let's make a copy. Erase the old one. Let's take a look at it. Okay, cheer and scream. But they're not connected to anything. See, look, when I click on the custom UI, remember I added in the props definitions right here? And there are two of them. There's one called cheer. There's one called scream. So cheer and scream, right? So when we go in here, when we click on here, which has that script on it, cheer and scream are two spaces that are left open. So let's get some sounds for it. We can get the let's just pull something out of the sound. We don't need to use the AI. I mean, I love using the AI, but like if you want to use the AI, you use the AI and just tell it what sound you want, and it'll give you 4 choices, and you get to pick one, and they'll probably mostly be good. All right, cheer. There's the one. Here we go. Cheer crowd long. Drag that in from sounds, and then what's the other one? Scream. Female scream 1. Why is it female? Why is there no male scream? All right. I'm not opening that. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. Let's listen again. Okay, that was weird. But whatever. We're not here to make it sound like it's the next Star Wars. We're just trying to get this working. Okay, so I have the UI selected with the production board script that we had from before. Cheer, we have to plug in cheer. So I'm going to take this one, the one that's called cheer. I'm going to drag it in. So now when it says this.props.cheer, it's talking about this audio gizmo. And now this one, female scream, I'll drag that one into scream. All right. Now it should work. Push the buttons and it should make the sound. So here, this is cheer. Okay, scream and cheer didn't work. Let's see why not. That's their volume all the way on. Play on start preview. And volume, we'll just make it 1, which is maximum. Yeah, that was a bit much. Okay, so that's it. Those work now. And now let's do the one with the particle effects gizmo. Okay, so it's super similar, right? So here's what we did. We used audio gizmo. It's identical, just with particle gizmo. Okay, so we're gonna go up to Horizon Core. We're gonna import a particle gizmo, and then We're going to make a button, but before we make the button again, let's go ahead and make the handler for it. So let's see. It's a scream handler. Let's make this, look, it already knows particle handler, but let's just call it smoke handler. Let's say you want to puff a smoke. That I know that is a thing. I'm just trying not to use the same words that are already built into these things, even though it actually is kind of best practice in a lot of ways. I think for the sake of teaching, it's not the best way. All right, smoke handler. What's going to happen in smoke handler? We're going to say, oh, well, let's make the prop first. No, I want to do it. I could do it myself. I'm a big boy. All right. Okay, so now we have cheer, we have scream, and now we also have smoke. So if I save that and we go back to our our custom UI here, this time it's going to have 3 options. So it's going to have the cheer, the scream space, and now there'll be a third space which will still be open called smoke. See, because we just added that in props definitions. All right. And so for the smoke handler, let's say if this dot props dot smoke, because what if I don't plug anything in there? Then none of this is going to work. It's going to be messed up. So that's why it's saying like, is it like check first? Okay. So we're going to take this dot props dot smoke, which we will plug in, and I know it's not plugged in yet. Okay. We're going to use it as what? We're going to use as a particle gizmo. And then we're going to play it. That's it. Okay. Now, how are we going to add this button? Think about how you want to add this button here. Okay. So it's our third child. We're going to say this dot button. What are the 2 things we need to pass into a button? We need to pass in a string, which is going to be the text on the button. So let's say the text is smoke, and then we're going to have to do a function, and the function is going to have to be, let's see, put it in like this. Whoops. And this dot smoke handler. That's it. Once we go in there and plug it in, it will be good to go. Then again, I'm sure we have to like copy this thing, and I'll just wait. Okay. Okay, so now I got to make a smoke particle thing. Okay, so build gizmo. We'll do particle gizmo. Okay, that's the particle gizmo. So again, I'm going to click on the UI, scroll down to where it has smoke. Then I'm going to find this over here on the left side. I'm going to drag it over. Oh man, I'm realizing my face is covering a lot of where it is. Oh my gosh. That's not my face. This is my face. So you see over here where I plugged them all in. That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I just showed you like 10 times. I was like, look at this over here. And I didn't even notice like my big bulging shoulders. They're just swollen. They're not really big, but all right. I have edema. Just kidding. I shouldn't joke. All right. So that's it. It should work. Okay. I have that thing on play on start. Let me not take that off. All right. Come on, man. Why you always gotta do that? All right, there we go. That is how you make a custom UI that does simple functions. It plays sounds. So again, if let's say you could put a whole song in there, however long that is, it's going to play it. And I can teach you how to, stop songs and how to make jukeboxes and everything. If anybody wants any custom jobs done or something, let me know. I'm happy to share them. But again, if you have questions, let me know. I just kind of brainstorm. Was like, what have people been asking me about lately? So that's what I make tutorials about. So if you say something specific, then I'm probably gonna do it. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, reach out, and thank you so much. Meta Horizon Worlds is where it is at. This is the place to build. I'm telling you right now. I have very specific reasons for saying that. So if you have a question about it, let me know. I would not say anything if I wasn't sure. All right. Teacher Danny out.